Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Oh my God, this poor woman and her poor family. I tell you, if I ever go missing, do not get this sheriff in to look for me, please. Because after the madness of Friday evening, of all the things that were going on, people being detained, talk about people trying to escape and being stopped at traffic stops and unaliving themselves. And somebody died at that scene because another podcaster actually inadvertently caught it on their live stream and then took their live stream down because of it. So something happened, but the sheriff's not telling us what happened. Oh no, nobody's been arrested, just people being detained. Apparently, this case could take years to solve, according to Sheriff Nanos, who is still not doing press conferences. So over 10 days since Sheriff Nanos has done an official press conference. He's texting some podcasters. Apparently, Brighton says he's getting texts from him. Why is he texting Brian? I mean, I love Brian Enton. I've got nothing against him. He's a good podcaster. But why is the sheriff texting him? That's not the official way to do things, is it? Texting one podcaster. Brian Enton certainly is in the know one way or another because he was the only podcaster who knew about the SWAT team descending on that house on Friday. Nobody else was anywhere near the scene. He was right there within the perimeter. I just, honestly, I'm sort of speechless. And at the heart of this is an old lady, an 86-year-old woman with a pacemaker and heart problems, who's disappeared from her home in the middle of the night, blood found on the doorstep. And this guy, even then also there's this arguments between him and the FBI. Even one of his own team is saying that they don't even know who's in charge of this case anymore. It's an absolute disaster. And poor Nancy, it's not helping her, it's not helping her family. So what we're going to look at in this video anyway, we're going to look at so he did give an interview in the end after saying that he wasn't given any interviews, but he gave an interview. We're going to have a look at that, what he had to say. Just if you can make anything out of it, you're a better man or woman than me. We're going to look at something that's sort of intriguing me, that the fact that Savannah Guthrie, the daughter, who of course is the famous journalist, we're going to have a look at her interview with Virginia Giuffre, because everything always leads back to Epstein at the moment as well, doesn't it? So she interviewed all the Epstein survivors, but we're going to just look at part of her interview with Virginia Giuffre. Is that because, at the end of the day, why was this woman taken in the first place? I think obviously that's if they can find the answer to that, why she was taken, they're going to find out who it was and where she is. That's the crux of everything. Why take an 84-year-old woman from her bed in the middle of the night? A woman with health issues. Is this just a burglary gone wrong? Or, as it seems to have been watching her for a while, is it connected with Savannah Guthrie? Is it connected with something, political views, with his political views? Was it just very wrong? But then why would they take? I still think I don't see why these people would have taken Nancy with them if she woke up in the middle of the night and they were robbing her place. Well, one, nothing has been stolen, but also, why take her? If they didn't know her, if they had no connection to her, why not just, supposing she died of a heart attack, or supposing they attacked her because she was kicking up her fuss and she was threatening to call the police? Why take her? People, That's when bodies disappear, it normally is somebody who knows them. Because if they had no connection to Nancy, they just want to get out of there as quickly as possible. They won't want to take the body or a live 84-year-old woman with them. So anyway, so that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at the interview with the sheriff, deputy dog. He's unbelievable, this guy. So unfortunate for Nancy. I tell you, if you live in that area, you don't vote for that sheriff next time. I wouldn't recommend that at all. And if you live in that area, bloody hell, how many CCTV things have they got of people roaming around the area and going up to people's doors in the middle of the night? There's loads of videos. Is this all the same person operating? Or is it just one of all these random people going around robbing houses in that area? I wouldn't want to live in that area, that's for sure. Anyway, and the other thing we're going to talk about is something that's, good, hopefully, but whether it'll ever lead to anything. This electronic device that they're using to look for Nancy, because Nancy, of course, whatever they've done with Nancy, she's got a pacemaker. So unless they've actually physically removed her pacemaker, pacemakers can be tracked. So apparently they're using this state-of-the-art device to hover over Nancy's home and roundabout, and apparently this can detect a pacemaker. But you are apparently, again, you have to be so close to it, so close to the ground, so it's difficult with a helicopter, because, well, helicopters can't go that close to the ground, can they? And if there's trees around, they can't go anywhere near it. Where are the dogs? Where are the cadaver dogs? And of course, there are dogs that can detect electronic devices. We saw that in the Samantha Murphy case when they found her phone. I don't understand why they're not all over that area with dogs. I think Nancy is, quite possibly. I mean, I hope not, because I hope she's still alive, but I just don't feel that. But she's probably not that far. If they have disposed of her, they won't have taken her far, because they won't have wanted it to get stopped in their car, with a body in the back or whatever. So I don't believe she'd be far away. So where's the cadaver dogs? Maybe they don't want to bring in cadaver dogs because that's like saying they think Nancy might be dead, but she might be dead. So I just don't get it. I just don't get any deputy dog. Hi, old hippie. I don't know what you get. Of course, you're not far away. God knows what you make of it all. Anyway, just before we start into all that, so I just want to say my thank yous. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing. Please subscribe. It's completely free if you're not already subscribed. Special thank you to my members. Special thank you to those of you who sent me Ko-fis or super stickers, etc. All the positive contributions you make to my channel, whether Ko-fis or that, or just send me emails about cases or participating in some way or another, leaving a nice message. Thank you so much. So, intermittently on this, I'm going to be putting up a banner just to ask you, what do you think has happened to Nancy? And it will come up for 60 seconds every now and again. Don't forget to leave me your thoughts on what you think has happened to her. Why was Nancy targeted? What went wrong? Or maybe it went right. Maybe it was intentionally to kill Nancy, because there is nothing. This bloody deputy dog sheriff, he's come on now, and I think we'll watch his interview first. He's come on now and said, these people are just detained, no arrests, no charges, but it could lead to something. what was the other thing? He said, oh, this investigation could take weeks, it could take months, it could take years. Very inspiring for poor Nancy's family. Yeah, he said all sorts of things. So shall we have a look at that? I'll wait till this banner goes over. There you go. Let's have a look at that first. Good God. Well, yeah, old hippie, you're saying it was a home invasion gone wrong. They didn't know she was there. I don't believe that. Of course, why wouldn't they have known she was there? When you go into someone's house at 2 o'clock in the morning, there's likely to be somebody in there. Unless they thought that when she went off to her daughter's house, she wasn't coming back. But, thing is, there are people, obviously, who go around burglarizing. But they normally, unless they just thought, oh, it's just an old lady in there, she won't wake up. Did they think she won't wake up? Maybe she was up. Maybe she'd got up to go to the loo. Maybe it's the middle of the night and maybe normally she wouldn't have been up. Maybe they were in the living room stealing things. But don't forget, they took a rucksack full of stuff with them. That's intriguing me. What was in that rucksack? When we saw the footage from the CCTV camera, that rucksack that man was wearing, it was full. You don't take a full rucksack to do a burglary, you take an empty one so you can steal things. So, let's have a look what Deputy Dogg's got to say. It's funny, but it's not funny, of course, because, this is a woman's life at stake. This is a woman's life. That's very.
We've done a number of interviews and investigations and taken DNA swabs from a number of different people. They've all cooperated with us. And we look at what their stories are and we go, okay, the real Rico case, perfect example. That young man, we got our search warrant, went search his house, and he talked to us. We thought, okay, makes sense, and we left. But is he clear? Well, no, we don't know that. We don't think there was anything else to get from him at that time. But what if we end up, because all that evidence was taken and submitted for DNA, what if that DNA at that search warrant scene shows that Nancy was there? It's not clear. So the family, I'm going to say this real carefully, they are under tremendous pressure and tremendous grief. And I think it's really irresponsible for anyone to start.
Right, I'm going to start it again from the beginning. How weird, because all I did was take
cooperative and cleared are two different things.
I know, but the evidence will take us there.
Right.
I'm going to ask you just a slew of different questions within the case, starting with, have you been able to clear any of the Guthrie family members?
Well, I put it like this. Everybody, particularly the Guthrie family, but everybody has been very cooperative with us. We've done a number of interviews and investigations and taken DNA swabs from a number of different people. They've all cooperated with us. And we look at what their stories are and we go, okay, the real Rico case, perfect example. That young man, we got our search warrant, went search his house, and he talked to us. We thought, okay, makes sense, and we left. But is he clear? Well, no, we don't know that. We don't think there was anything else to get from him at that time. But what if we end up, because all that evidence was taken and submitted for DNA, what if that DNA at that search warrant scene shows that Nancy was there? It's not clear. So the family, I'm going to say this real careful, they are under tremendous pressure and tremendous grief. And I think it's really irresponsible for anyone to start pointing fingers that way. They have been nothing but cooperative with us.
But I think cooperative and cleared are two different things.
I know, but the evidence will take us there if that's the case. Right now, we are working close with that family, and yeah, our hearts go out to them.
So they are not cleared as of now.
Nobody's cleared.
Nobody's cleared. Okay. I know there's still a lot of investigative efforts going on at Nancy Guthrie's home, at Annie Guthrie's home, and around Southern Arizona. My question for Nancy Guthrie's home is, if there are continued investigative efforts, why is there no crime scene tape up?
So I don't know where that started, but let's go back to the beginning. Our team gets a call. We're looking for search and rescue efforts. Shortly around 2 o'clock, I get a call. I said, we need to turn this up. This could be a homicide, could be a kidnapping. And so we go that direction. They work it. I was out there till probably around midnight or 1 o'clock and went home. And when I'm out there, I'm not in the scene. People report that. That's not my role. I'm there to ask, what do you need? What does my team need to get? What resources can we get to accomplish? And we move on.
I just want to say that because people are asking, why am I not at the scene? That's not my role. Well, it doesn't matter if it's your role or not. The thing is, people, you're supposed to be there, aren't you, to put people at their ease? And, you know, it's not a question of what your role is. What you're going to do, sit down there and say, oh, I'm not going to the scene because that's not my role. Your role is to do whatever you have to do to put people's minds at rest. You are the sheriff. You are, the buck stops with you. I don't understand it. Understand this? Well, that's not my role. What is your role then? Your role is to do whatever it takes, to do whatever's necessary to put people's minds at rest, or to make people feel reassured that something's being done. It's like when he went to the basketball game and that. It probably, oh, is that your role then? To go to the basketball game in the middle of a massive investigation, probably the biggest investigation you'll ever be involved with in your whole career. Was that your role? To go and enjoy your basketball game, get your popcorn? What is he talking about? That's not my role. What is your role? Just ridiculous, man. He is a ridiculous man.
They were out there probably till 7, 8 o'clock that morning. That's a Monday morning. I now start getting calls, and I field all the media, but I realize that the national media is getting involved, and it's like, I'm there on the phone in front of cameras like this from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I can't do that all day when it's going to get this job done. And I think we tried.
No, he can't do that all day. Nobody's asking him to do that all day. But it's been 10 days since he's given a press conference. He's saying that as if he's all doing a press conference every 30 seconds. He doesn't have to do this, and he shouldn't be talking to individual reporters. Personally, I don't think. He could do one conference every couple of days, just, to field off what's going on. And he keeps releasing these statements through the sheriff's office. Oh, there's no press conference today, but if anything happens of any significance, blah, de, blah, de, blah. Friday night, 2 SWAT teams deployed, people detained. Apparently that's not anything of anything significance to this man, because he didn't make a press conference about that either. So he's talking to individual reporters, or, so he's just cherry picking who he talks to. But why doesn't he just he'd save more time. He can't sit and speak to all individual reporters. He should be at least every couple of days releasing a video statement. Doesn't even have to be a full-blown press conference. Addressing the questions that have come up. You'd be like, oh, I know people are concerned about the SWAT incident on Friday. This is what I can tell you about it. Obviously can't say everything about it. And those people that were detained, They probably haven't been cleared yet because there'll be DNA testing going on and this, that, and the other. So they've probably not been cleared completely, but there's not enough evidence against them to arrest them. But he didn't even do any kind of conference about it. And, you know, in this day and age, you can't hide it when SWAT teams are sent out. Anyway, somebody told Brian Ensign about it. Somebody told him it was going to happen because he was actually in the perimeter. So he's just talking rubbish. Yeah, you can't do 24-hour interviews. Well, what is your role then? What are you doing?
To have a press conference the next morning. It was a little chaotic. I'll take that hit. But nevertheless, we held what you were looking for in terms of evidence and timelines. But that morning, Monday morning, because they're always saying the sheriff didn't get the FBI involved early on. The FBI was involved Monday morning. Within hours of that, we knew that, hey, we have physical evidence, and we gave it to them. How do we know that? Because we've worked with the FBI for decades. I have department members assigned to that office and have for years. That relationship is critical, not just to the FBI or the Pima County Sheriff's Department, but to this community.
But why not secure the scene now? Continue on. Why not secure it better? I mean, we had a guy deliver pizza up at the front door.
Because we processed the scene. We were done with the scene. The FBI, when you saw them come back, that would be a normal situation. They come in, say, hey, you know, we're looking at this electronic stuff. Can we go see the house? Absolutely. And so they go back. There's no evidence gathered. It's like yesterday. They were there at the scene doing what? Taking measurements.
You know, he's trying to justify the fact that the crime scene was not secured. He said from day one it was a crime scene. What he's saying now is that they'd got everything they wanted within that first couple of days, because the crime scene tape was taken off within a couple of days, wasn't it? Because that's when Brian Ensign went in and filmed the blood on the patio. He just doesn't get it, this guy. He's trying to think how he can explain his way around it. He declared it as a crime scene from day one, so it should always be secured as a crime scene until the case is solved, surely. Or, you know, to give the FBI a chance to come in, or, you know, that crime scene was compromised. You know, and it makes their work harder, doesn't it, by not securing the crime scene? Because, yeah, they'll have found Brian Ensign's fingerprints all over the door, probably, and his DNA, or any other media person, or the pizza delivery guy. So, yes, that was JLR, wasn't it? One of his supporters sent him a pizza. I mean, it's laughable, except it's not funny. Because a woman's life is at the center of it. But it is like something you would see on Naked Gun or some comedy police show. You know, it's no good blaming the person who delivered the pizza or whatever. They probably didn't think that they'd be able to walk right up to Nancy Guthrie's door and knock on it to try and deliver a pizza or whatever happened. No, it's not the responsibility of the public, really, to secure a crime scene. It's his responsibility. You know, people will always try and go where they can go when it comes to a case like this. And if there's no crime scene tape up and it looks like they can go, now they can't. You know, there's security guards there now, which is fine, but it's not the responsibility of the family, really, I don't think, to preserve a crime scene. It's the responsibility of the police. And he's trying to talk his way around it. He can try and talk his way around it as much as he wants, but he knows himself. And as you say, old hippie, she knows he's a moron as well. You can tell by the way she's looking at him. He knows he's wrong, but he can't even admit he's wrong. He can't even say, well, that was a mistake. We perhaps should have left it. You know, he's just blethering on.
See that video we have of that individual, that's critical to us.
So are they not taking new evidence, not seizing new evidence from the home right now?
I'm sorry?
Are they not collecting new evidence right now? When you say that part's done, they're just taking measurements. Are they not taking any more evidence?
We have to understand when you're speaking of evidence. Are they gathering pieces of evidence off there and taking it in? No. What they're doing is they're doing some analysis of the evidence we gathered to see what can fit. Yeah.
Okay. You know, obviously, it's no secret to you, there's been a lot of talk, the controversial, where the DNA is being tested, where the evidence is being tested. Can you just clarify the order here? And did the FBI want to test something at their lab, which is typically known to be the pristine lab, and did you say no?
So their lab is a great lab. We've used them before. They've solved cases. Our lab is a good lab too. We've used this lab for 40 years. So it's not like, oh, whose lab is better? They're both very capable labs. What happens is in these kinds of situations, we make a decision. Investigators sit down and talk about it. What's the best strategy here? What happens is we had submitted our DNA to a lab for analysis. The FBI took the camera images and did that. When those camera images came back, what happens? FBI shares them with us.
Right.
When our lab reports come back, we share them. We now have a glove we found. Somebody found it. Not at the house. Somebody reported that. It's 2 miles away. But we're not going to disregard that. That'd be silly. So we go gather that glove and we take it. And the FBI said, well, we can send it to our lab. I said, well, why would we do that? We have a lab that has all the markers, right? You have the family members, and they're at our.
They're all our labs better than your labs. That is basically, essentially, that is what he's saying. He can talk his way around it as much as he wants, but you can just look at her face. That woman. She asked him the question, and good for her that she asked him the question. It seems obvious to me. He's like, no, we want it to go. He wants the kudos for solving this case when it happens. He doesn't like the FBI. He's admitted that because they investigated him for misappropriation of funds years ago, didn't he? And he was on. There's a video of him saying that he's got no love for the FBI. So what he's trying to say now, I have no idea. But yeah, he's sort of saying, no, it's not a question of our lab's better than your lab. But then the way he talks after that, it is. Who is in charge of the investigation? The FBI said he's not cooperating with them. That's not somebody making it up. He's not cooperating with them because he wants to be the one who solves it. But he doesn't want to put the work in. He still wants to go to the basketball and watch the Super Bowl, and because that's not his role to put the work in. His role is just to come out at the end of it and say, look how brilliant we are. We've solved it.
And we also have other evidence there. We had evidence from the Rio Rico search warrant scene. It's submitted there.
You did tell me last week, though, that your lab was down, and that's why you sent it to Phoenix. Last week, though, you did tell me at one point that the Tucson DNA testing lab was down, and that's why you sent it to Phoenix. Is that back up and running?
No, she's clever when she says this to him. Look at his face. No, I never said that. I never said the lab was down. But she says, you said to me last week the lab was down. Was that why? Look at his face. He can't even remember what he said. Because that's the other thing. He's not organised with his notes, he's like, when did I say that? But he obviously said it because she's bringing it up. And probably if he said, oh, I didn't say that, she'd probably bring the interview up.
I don't recall ever saying the lab was down. I don't know what you're talking about.
You had said that in our interview last week, I believe on Tuesday.
Maybe I was confused with something else, but that DNA lab's never been down.
Maybe it was the rapid DNA in Tucson? You said that's why you set stuff up to Phoenix.
Yes, gotcha. Yes. The rapid DNA test is not a test that you can use in court, but it gets us.
Yeah, so I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't inspire confidence, does it? I never said that. No. And then she doubles down on it and he goes, oh yeah.
As quickly at a result to say, hey, we might have something here. That was down. So we went to DPS.
Is it
correct.
back up and running now in Tucson?
I believe so. Yeah, I don't know. Tucson's so we have a DPS office here in Tucson. Their lab.
I didn't get any of those details because that's not my role, obviously. I'm just the sheriff. I'm just there to go to basketball matches and, throw my ego around. What is it? He said, oh, I don't know. I haven't been told about that. He is absolutely, this interview won't help, but everyone thinks he's useless anyway, but after this interview, it's even clearer how useless he is.
Said our DNA, our rapid DNA is down, or whatever that meant. I don't know.
Okay.
We just wanted some rapid DNA done, and so we sent it to DPS.
That makes sense. Important investigative tool to at least have on that.
I'm sorry. When I think of DNA at labs, I'm thinking our lab, FBI lab, those kinds of crime labs. Understand.
That makes sense. I want to ask you a little bit about the press conferences. So I know PCSD has said multiple times you will hold a press briefing if there is a significant development. We've had this surveillance video come out that was huge. We've had somebody detained and released. So what does your department consider a significant development to address the media?
We discuss all of this, and it is a discussion with.
Oh, good for her. So she has asked the questions that we're asking, and good for her. So, what is a significant development then if it's not SWAT teams being deployed and people being detained and this, that, and the other? They keep releasing these statements saying there won't be a press conference until something significant comes out. Friday night, there was significant things coming out the woodwork. So he doesn't want to do it's too much effort to do a press conference. He's obviously, it was Super Bowl weekend and then these basketball matches. So he doesn't want to do a press conference. That's basically what it comes down to. Also, because he made such a cock up of the ones he's done, he's perhaps realised that that's not his forte, doing a press conference. He's really squirming here, I think. It makes it clear just how much he's squirming about what she's asking him.
Our team, the FBI, and talk about it. If you go back to those press conferences, you'll recall who's standing next to me.
The FBI.
Both the FBI. They were a part of this. We still are a part of this. Nobody gets to say we're doing this or we're doing that. It is we collectively sit at it. The SWAT team used at the home in Rio Rico. Who was that going to be? We talked about it. FBI had that. So ransom notes. Who should handle ransom notes? FBI, you're great at that stuff. Give it to them. But that's the kind of process. I don't think what I've spent time talking to you about was probably 10 times as long as it talked to the FBI about, hey, let's send this to your lab or my lab. That was just crazy. And that's what got me out here. I know you guys want information, and we want you to have the information. That camera, the video that you see, that individual, people say, oh, we had it for days. We held that for less than 2 hours. We got it and said, we need this out there. And so you get it, you have some work to do to put it together because it's pretty fresh. So we sent it out because we know that's vital. It's generated more leads than anything else we can imagine.
I would imagine. I mean,
last question.
It was key evidence there. Okay, I'm going to ask you one more thing then. Based on where we are now, that man was detained and then released. You said he's not clear, but he definitely is not still in custody. Are we any closer to having charges for the person who abducted Nancy Guthrie, and are we any closer to finding her?
I think we're closer. Yes, absolutely. Every lead counts. That we had, just going back a couple of days, we had 18,000 calls. FBI had 15,000. That's 30-some thousand calls. I have 400 cops, feds, state, local, all over the state, people volunteering. I would be crazy to say, no, I don't want your help. That's what's crazy about this with the FBI.
So should we expect an arrest soon or charges soon?
Well, I would hope so, but I can't say that. What I would tell you is look, all 400 cops out there.
They don't know anything, do they? They don't, just the way he's saying it, he doesn't know. He doesn't know, so they've got no bloody clue, really. After all this, they've still got no clue. That's how it feels. I don't feel with him, sometimes you watch the police being interviewed and you feel like they're just giving out the information that they can, but they do know something, they're holding something back. I don't get that feeling with him. I get the feeling that he absolutely hasn't got a clue. And to me, it still keeps coming back to get the cadaver dogs out there, or the dogs. Where's the searches of the local area from the police with the horses, or it just seems obvious to me that Nancy is more. Unfortunately, you've just got to be realistic. It's likely that Nancy is deceased. And it's likely that she hasn't been taken far away from there. And I still, now, wouldn't be surprised if they found her somewhere in the house, because that's how it feels with this sheriff. You don't feel like he's got a clue what he's doing. And the FBI, I suppose, you think they're more proficient, but because they maybe working more stealthily, I don't know. You just don't feel like they know anything.
Everybody's working hard. The community is working hard. We want Nancy home. That's the key. Does it happen in an hour? Does it happen in a day, a week, a month, a year?
Do you know what I mean? Does it happen in a day, a month, a year? Oh my God. So that is not the right thing to say, even if it's true. Missing person cases can take years to solve. Some are never solved. But I don't think that's a good thing to say. Is he trying to downplay expectations? Is he trying to say, don't, and then tomorrow something will break? I don't know. But he's rubbish, isn't he, at talking to the media? Because if that was my mum that had got disappeared, and then he said that, you imagine how your heart would sink. I think, you've got to say, yes, we're positive we're going to solve this case. And all right, maybe it's true. You can't say the exact day that it will be solved. But I think to make that comment, everyone's been over that comment, like, what? Let's listen to it again. What an idiot.
We want Nancy home. That's the key. Does it happen in an hour? Does it happen in a day, a week, a month, a year?
10 years.
I don't know, but I know this. We're not going to quit. We're never going to give up.
My very last question on that, just based on what you said, is this still a rescue mission, or have you shifted into somewhat of a recovery mission? Where does that stand today?
Every time we go out, we're looking to rescue somebody.
And it still stands as that. You still believe that Nancy could be alive?
I believe she is. Why would I not? The family believes it. I believe it. There's nothing to indicate she's not. So okay. I'm not going to go there.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate your time. Thank you to your department for doing this interview.
Sorry for cutting you short, but yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Bye.
So
I'm going to ask you just a slew of different.
So what a joke he is. What a joke. So yeah, he said it could take a day, it could take a week, it could take a month, it could take a year. So he's giving no comfort to the family at all. Then he's saying, oh, well, yeah, I think Nancy is alive. What reason do I have not to think it? Well, maybe because she's 84 years old and she had heart problems and she's been taken off somewhere without a medication and there's blood on the step. Now, I understand that he doesn't want to say that he thinks she's deceased, that would be upsetting for the family. You've got all these sort of fake kidnap things coming into TMZ and different things that are, as far as that's another thing. As far as we know, he said he's leaving the kidnap notes and that to the FBI. But as far as we know, we don't know whether any of those kidnap notes are genuine or false. We don't know, they don't know, do they? How can they not know? There was one person has been charged with who sent a false kidnap note and also phoned one of the family, apparently a short phone call one person has been charged, haven't they? But then there's been other. We don't know if they're all from the same person. We don't know if they're genuine, not genuine. They all seem to be, everyone, all the prospective kidnappers are all contacting TMZ now because they get publicity that way. Some people, that's what they want. There'll be people that are sat there, nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie, send it, not even expecting any money back from the kidnapper, not even expecting to be paid anything, but just enjoying the attention and enjoying torturing the Guthrie family. Some people enjoy torturing families when they're going through distress like this. I've seen it in every single case I've ever covered. There's always some nutter out there accusing the family of something, or look at Jay Slater case, how his mom was vilified. The mother of a boy who's died, she had to bring him home in a body bag. And there's people out there actually enjoy tormenting families, unfortunately, sadly. And of course, social media makes it easier for them to do that. But yeah, those TMZ ransom notes, none of them have been proven to be genuine. But having said that, they haven't come out and told us that they're not genuine. It's like no official confirmation of anything one way or the other. Just ridiculous it is. Yeah, exactly. He reminds me actually a lot of is it Steve Martin, who's the guy who does the not Steve Martin, the other guy with the white hair that I can't remember his name. He just reminds me of that guy from Naked Gun completely. It just I said, as I say, I'm laughing, but it's not even funny. Deputy dog, Naked Gun. Anyway, so I'm just going to show you now the interview. Hopefully the sound will come through on it. The interview, where is it? With Virginia Guiffre. Now this, just that there's so much about, so much going on at the moment about Epstein. So this is the Virginia Guiffre interview with Savannah Guthrie, Nancy's mum. Back in the days when people weren't believing Virginia necessarily. My heart breaks for Virginia because, of course, she's been unalived, hasn't she? She was found deceased last year in her home, where it was said that she deleted herself. Did she, though? Who knows? Will we ever know the truth? Poor Virginia, it seems like she's had a life of abuse, and then nobody believed her. And yeah, she was complicit in that abuse herself because she was encouraged to find other young girls for Epstein and Maxwell. But she was 17 years old, so she was sort of inveigled into that environment. And yeah, she probably did do some soliciting of other girls. That's where these creeps, they not only groom their victims, but they get their victims to groom other victims. That they do that. And but still it's them they're the predators. You can't, a 17-year-old girl, with her head turned by the world that she was moving in. You're going to meet a prince. Young girls, of course they're impressed by money, wealth, status, etc. Of course they are. And you can't blame the girl completely for it. Now, I'm sure Virginia's had to live with that herself. So anyway, so we've got, this is Savannah, Nancy's mum, a few years ago. How long ago was this? I'm not sure if it's 10 years ago. And it's her mum who's disappeared in the weird, like it says here, in the weirdest, sketchiest circumstances imaginable. Is there any connection? Is it possible? Because what is the reason that Nancy has been taken? You know, we just don't know. Anyway, I hope the sound works on this. Can you hear it? Now, I must admit, when I was watching this, I felt like Savannah was looking at her like she didn't believe her. I don't know, she's got that skeptical look on her face. Of course, a lot of people didn't believe Virginia in the beginning. You know, she was reviled for speaking the truth.
I'm in London. I was so young. Keelan woke me up in the morning and said, "You're going to meet a prince today." I didn't know at that point that I was going to be trafficked to that prince. And then that night, Prince Andrew came to her house in London, and we went out to Club Tramp. Prince Andrew got me alcohol. It was in the VIP section. I'm pretty sure it was vodka. Prince Andrew was like, "Let's dance together." And I was like, okay. And we leave Club Tramp, and I hop in the car with Guylaine and Jeffrey. And Guylaine said he's coming back to the house. And I want you to do for him what you do for Epstein. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that even royalty were involved. First time in London, I was so young. Guylaine woke me up in the morning and said, "You're going to..."
Yeah, so it's just a short clip from the whole interview. You probably can find that. Maybe one day we'll watch the whole interview, but yeah. So she got up in the morning. Ghislaine Maxwell said to her, "You're going to meet a prince today." Off they went, met Andrew. Of course, Andrew later denied that this had ever happened or that he could remember it. Of course, there was that infamous photograph of Andrew with his hand on around Virginia that he said he was photoshopped and it wasn't him. But now Ghislaine Maxwell has come out and said that it was a genuine photo. The thing is, Virginia has been completely exonerated, hasn't she? You know, that she received so much hate when she's the person really who started talking out against the establishment. It's hard to accuse a prince of trafficking or, you know, participating in it. And she was reviled for it. You know, she received so much criticism, didn't she? Oh, she looked so well there and everything. It's horrible to think that at 41 years old, she is deceased. You know, supposedly took her own life last year. I don't know that I believe she took her own life personally, because she had her book coming out. Things were breaking, weren't they? You know, if only she would have kept going for just a little bit longer. I wonder what she would make of everything now, of Andrew losing his title at least. I mean, he hasn't been held to account properly, has he? Because he won't be. I doubt if he ever will be. I doubt if he'll ever be prosecuted, but you never know, maybe. You know, she would have, it's a shame that she's not here to see things sort of falling about around these famous people. Because it's not only Andrew, it's all the other billionaires, that there are bits of prosecutions coming out, and that gradually, hopefully, people will be held to account for what is turning out to be not just a simple trafficking case. Even that's bad enough, but now there's the things that they're saying that have come out in all these millions of Epstein files. How can they have been just brushed under the carpet? We talk about murder of children, you know, really horrible things, much worse than trafficking of 17-year-old girls, and that's bad enough as it is. But the things that are coming out now are even worse. And Virginia, she is instrumental in bringing all this to light. Anyway, let's watch this again.
First time in London, I was so young. Keelan woke me up in the morning and said, "You're going to meet a prince today." I didn't know at that point that I was going to be trafficked to that prince. And then that night, Prince Andrew came to her house in London, and we went out to Club Tramp. Prince Andrew got me alcohol. It was in the VIP section. I'm pretty sure it was vodka. Prince Andrew was like, "Let's dance together." And I was like, okay. And we leave Club Tramp, and I hop in the car with Ghislaine and Jeffrey. And Ghislaine said he's coming back to the house. And I want you to do for him what you do for Epstein. I just couldn't believe it.
I want you to do for him what you do for Epstein. The thing is, as well, Virginia, I've seen Virginia being interviewed many times. Her story never changed. You know, that was the story. She went to the nightclub. She danced with Andrew. Of course, he said that wasn't possible because he doesn't sweat. And of course, we've seen lots of pictures of him sweating profusely. So that was a complete lie. Her story has never changed. I'm 100% certain that it happened. I always have been, to be honest. To be honest, I've never doubted it, but a lot of people have.
But I couldn't believe that even royalty were involved. First time in London.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but I do feel like Savannah's looking at her like she don't believe her, but I
was
bet
so
she
young.
believes her now.
Keelan woke me up.
Look, yeah, she just, I don't know, there's something about a bit sniffy the way she's looking at her. But a lot of people were looking at Virginia like that at the time when it all first came out. A lot of people didn't believe her. She's been totally exonerated now. I think there won't be many people now who don't believe her. Surely not anybody except Andrew and any idiot he can sort of convince. You know, just even at the end of the